All right, welcome back, everyone. This is it, the final part of our deep dive into advanced nuclear. And today, we're looking to the future. Because humanity is taking two incredible paths to get to a truly zero-carbon world. And today,
You've got one path that's an evolution and another that's a full-on revolution. On one side, we have the near-term evolution of small modular reactors, SMRs, and on the other, the long-term, totally game-changing revolution of nuclear fusion. So let's break down what they are and, maybe more importantly, why we actually need both.
Okay, let's tackle the revolution first. We're talking about nuclear fusion. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. We are trying to build a star right here on Earth. I mean, how incredible is that?
So what is fusion? Basically, you take light elements, like isotopes of hydrogen, and you smash them together. And when you do, they release a staggering amount of energy. We're talking about 4 times more than the nuclear fission we use today. The potential here is just massive. Imagine virtually limitless energy from something as common as seawater, all with zero carbon emissions and way less long-lived radioactive waste to worry about.
But that begs the question, right? How in the world do you contain a star? Well, scientists are basically chasing this in 2 main ways. The first is called magnetic confinement. Think of a donut-shaped machine, a tokamak, that uses these unbelievably powerful magnets to hold a cloud of super hot plasma in place. The other way is called inertial confinement, and this one is more like a tiny, perfectly controlled explosion. You take the world's most powerful lasers and just blast a tiny fuel pellet from all sides to kick off a fusion reaction.
And the race to get this working is just fascinating to watch. On one hand, you've got these huge international government projects like ITER. I mean, it's a science experiment on a truly monumental scale. But then you've also got this new wave of nimble, privately funded startups. Companies like Commonwealth Fusion Systems and Helion Energy. And they are all sprinting to be the first to actually get this tech on the grid.
We know the science works. Back in 2022, a lab experiment finally produced more energy than it took to start the reaction. That's the holy grail, right? Net energy gain. But, and this is a big but, turning that incredible scientific proof into a power plant that can actually light up our cities, that involves some absolutely monumental engineering hurdles.
Right now, everyone in the field is focused on 3 towering challenges. Number 1, materials. You have to find stuff that can literally survive the conditions inside a star without just falling apart. Number 2, the fuel cycle. The reactor has to be able to breathe its own fuel, tritium, from lithium, creating a self-sustaining loop. And number 3, heat. You got to design systems that can safely handle the absolutely immense heat exhaust.
And just to give you a sense of that first challenge, the neutrons flying around inside a fusion reactor will bombard the walls, displacing the atoms in the structure literally hundreds of times over a single component's lifetime. It is a massive material science problem to solve.
Okay, so that's the revolution. It's incredible, but it's a long way off. So how does that compare to the evolution we mentioned at the start? Well, let's talk about small modular reactors.
The biggest difference, the really crucial point, is the timeline. SMRs are basically an advancements of fission technology that we already know works. It's proven. We've got a few online already, and we're probably going to see wider deployment in just the next 5 to 10 years. Fusion, that's still a frontier technology. It's a much longer-term prospect, with the very first pilot plants hopefully coming online sometime in the 2030s.
So you can see how this timeline really clarifies their roles, right? SMRs are the bridge. They're the technology that can help us make huge decarbonization gains over the next decade or 2. Meanwhile, fusion development keeps chugging along in parallel with the big goal of getting it onto the grid around, say, 2050.
Then there's the fuel and waste situation, which is totally different. Fission, relies on uranium, and there's only so much of that. Fusion promises a fuel source that's practically inexhaustible, since it comes from seawater and lithium. And the waste? Well, fusion doesn't produce those long-lived radioactive byproducts, which makes the whole waste management problem a lot simpler.
Safety is another huge one. Fusion just has this built-in, physics-based advantage. The conditions you need to get a fusion reaction going are so incredibly precise and hard to maintain that a meltdown-style event is physically impossible. If anything goes wrong, the reaction doesn't run away. It just stops. Poof. Done.
Why bother with both? I mean, shouldn't we just pick one? Well, no, because their role isn't to compete with renewables like solar and wind. It's to work with them to build a super reliable, totally zero-carbon grid.
Solar and wind are amazing, but we all know they're intermittent. The sun goes down, the wind stops blowing. A modern grid needs what's called firm power, something that's always on 24/7, ready to fill in those gaps. And that is exactly the role advanced nuclear is designed to fill.
All the research points to this. The best, most resilient grid of the future isn't just one thing. It's a hybrid. It's a team. It combines the strengths of low-cost renewables with the rock-solid 24/7 reliability of firm power like advanced nuclear.
Here's what's really interesting. For both SMRs and fusion, the biggest hurdles going forward aren't purely technical anymore. They're becoming more economic, competing for investment dollars, and regulatory. Our rulebooks just need to be modernized to handle these brand new technologies.
So that brings us to the big question. How do we actually invest in this nuclear renaissance to make sure it succeeds?
The smart strategy seems to be a portfolio approach, just like with investing. On the policy side, governments can help by streamlining the rules to make things less risky. Public money can help get those first-of-a-kind SMRs off the ground and keep funding the foundational science for fusion. And for private investors, it means you treat SMRs as your near-term, reliable investment and fusion as your long-term, high-reward moonshot.
So the big takeaway here is really clear. SMRs and fusion are not competitors. They're teammates. They're two parts of the same powerful strategy to get us energy security and a fully decarbonized world. You could say SMRs are the bridge we need to cross the next few decades. And fusion? Well, fusion is the ultimate destination on the other side.
And leaves us with one final thought. By chasing both this practical evolution and this incredible revolutionary dream, we're not just placing one bet on the future. We're building a complete investment portfolio for the entire planet. And with a strategy like that, maybe, just maybe, we are finally witnessing the true start of a new nuclear era.